How many of you people in the room are aware that there is a mandatory report? Okay, about half of you. I think that's the short answer. But while this was going on, Fair Education located another victim who was harassed by the same predator, persuaded him to come forward, still no report to the police.
Oh my God.
Then, the kids know what's going on, believe it or not. And Sharon sat down, her daughter found out that the head of the school, the mandatory reporter, was regularly partying with the kids with drugs and alcohol in his apartment and at the home of one of the Mad Academy parents. They called it the Rave Cave.
Oh my God.
It was that well known. And it turned out it was actually a video of this head of the school partying with the kids. And with a little sleuthing, we got a copy of that video. We gave it to the TV station.
Oh.
And they put it on the air.
All right.
All of a sudden, this nonprofit is marched off campus, and the head of the school is put on administrative leave temporarily. Of course, they won't tell us why.
Of course not.
No, but they said he's going to retire at the end of the year, so in May they brought him back saying, we'll just let him stay till the end of the year.
Oh my
And
God.
then a parent who was in there for some other reason walked past his office and saw him wrestling with a kid on the ground. Got that parent in front of the school board, reported that, the guy was off campus the next day.
What idiots.
But the parents of the first victim actually went to the school board meeting and complained about the school board's failure to protect their child. Like, how can you let this happen and not report it? How can you leave him there where there could be other victims? Actually, it actually went to a police investigation. It went to the district attorney, and the district attorney just announced that they're not filing any charges. Of course, the district attorney is on a board with the superintendent and other things. This is a classic case of conflict of interest.
And what's the DA's name?
The DA's name is Joyce Dudley.
I have to ask, George Soros money?
I would
thinking the same.
bet money on it.
Oh
But I
my
think
God.
the short answer is that if she started going after the superintendent, she would take down almost the entire school district. Because we've been counting at least 4 mandatory reporters, and there are probably more.
What is FESP?
Fair Education Santa Barbara. Fair Education.
Oh,
That's our organization.
thank you, I'm sorry.
Now, as I say, Santa Barbara has a stated goal to reduce the equity gap between the high-performing and the low-performing students. That's their goal, to bridge that gap. Once again, you can bring up the lower students, or you can bring down the upper students, and you're bridging the gap. They attempted to eliminate or curtail the GATE program, and as I indicated, we fought back on that one, and so far we won it. The parents won't stand for it. But the parents weren't aware of it until somebody makes it known. That's the problem. These people work in secrecy.
Yeah.
Just Communities have been getting money for all this time because nobody knew about it. Nobody cared about it. As soon as we found out about it, pushed back, all of a sudden we're finding other people. And it's not just the Republicans that are against this. We also been on them about the failure to improve the performance on test scores. Just Communities have been touting for years, well, we're doing such great work and we're improving the performance of these students. And it's a lie. We've got the test scores. About half the kids in Santa Barbara Unified are below grade level in reading and math.
Wow.
By their own numbers, 92% of the students graduate, but only 50% are college or career ready. And they say if you have a kid gets past 3rd grade without being up to snuff in reading, you'll almost never catch up. But again, that's their stated priority. And we've been using their own documents against them. You know, as a young lawyer, I learned very early that the best evidence you can have is that which comes from the tongue or pen of your opponent. We've been using their own statistics against them, bringing them up at the school board meetings.
Yes, good. Absolutely.
And we're also confronting them about the fact that, well, Just Communities claims they're making progress, they're not. We're prepared for them to say, well, this is coming from a separate pool of money. It's not coming from the general fund, not coming from bond funds. It's coming from a separate pool of money called LCAP, Local Control Accountability Program. And that's designed to help the kids in the lower performing groups, to help them up. That's where the Just Communities money has been coming from. When Kerry Matsuoka came in, he fired a bunch of the high-performing people, the dyslexia performers, specialists, other students. And he's been bucketing money to these people and other nonprofits, by the way, and I can get around to that later. But we're saying, stop bucketing money to your friends, give it to the certificated teachers, let them do the job that they're paid to do. Stop getting these non-certificated people on campus. When are you going to learn that it's a recipe for disaster when you have people that you don't control doing things they shouldn't be doing? But to date, we've actually made some real progress. In the first place, we've developed some street credibility. We're no longer being dismissed as alt-right supremacists. We're being portrayed as people with an interest in bringing up all students.
Wonderful.
The school board's been listening to us, and they've been responding to us when we speak. As I say, they stopped the meeting to look at the photos in the bathrooms. When we called them they're dismissed us on the other Williams Act complaints. Initially, we filed 9 separate Williams Act complaints about the facilities. They only acknowledged 6 of them, and they claimed that all 6 had been taken care of, including the bathrooms, which by their own documents weren't going to be done until 2020. So we actually called them out on that. And then the facilities manager stood up and tried to do a yes vote on us, and it fell a little hollow because we'd already used their own documents against them. Other parents have learned us, and they've approached us for help. The school, a student who was sucker punched and suffered a concussion, his parents found out about us. He approached us for help. We got him up to the microphone to talk to the school board. We've had other parents come in, and other parents have been coming up. We had a Hispanic parent whose daughter is dyslexic. He was practically in tears. He said, "My daughter needs help. I've contacted the district. They won't even return my calls. What am I supposed to do?" So much for alt-right supremacists. And we've exposed to the public at large the large payments made and to be made by Just Communities. This is resonating with parents across the political spectrum. We believe it's going to start resonating with the teachers. Right now, the teachers' union is against us. They're threatened by us. They're trying to take us down. But again, I think we're being proactive. We're going to be telling them, why are you there trying to drive a wedge between the teachers and your customers? Because that's what the parents are, we're the customers. But the really good news is, we've been after Kerry Matsuoka week after week after week. And at the last board meeting, he announced that he has decided to retire and not seek renewal of his contract.
Thank you. I
That
want that
was
guy
really
in
fun
jail
because
cell.
I had a bunch of teachers that were there to say what a great guy he is and how we've been picking on him.
Please.
So how many years has he been superintendent?
Since 2016.
Okay.
Mm.
He's a protege of a fellow named Dave Cash, who's another part of this link in the web.
Are you going to tell us about Dave Cash?
Dave Cash was a principal. He's now with the with USC Rossier School, which is another interesting tie-in.
Yep. And all that sexual
There are
misconduct.
so many tie-ins, it's hard to get out of them. But we've had a good chance to get JC's Just Communities out of the schools. We're taking in some of the other nonprofits that are on campus. For instance, there's a nonprofit called AHA. Their founder is a dyed-in-the-wool rabid feminist. On her website, before she took it down, she posted a picture of herself with her large purple dildo.
What?
We
Oh my-
downloaded it.
Wow.
We showed it to the school board. They have been in classrooms with the health classes, helping to teach health. You can imagine what they're teaching. And we had the boyfriend of one of our founder's daughters is now a senior. He had to make up a health class in the summer. While he was there, they had a member of a nonprofit from Planned Parenthood who spent most of his time telling the kids about his porn addiction. That's what's going on in your schools, in case you're.
That is porn
He
addiction
was talking about his porn addiction. Yes.
Oh.
in a positive way?
Is there a positive way?
Probably was positive.
Oh, sure.
As I
Right.
say, so far, we're very proud of what we've accomplished so far. We've got a lot of work to do, and we don't tend to let up. School district is hoping that we're gonna say, okay, you've had your fun, now leave. Not gonna happen. We're gonna stay with it. And we welcome inquiries from groups who want to fight cronyism, corruption, and malfeasance in the local schools. We suspect Santa Barbara's not alone on this. And we're available online. You can look us up at www.faired.org. I've got postcards over there. If you want to send us a postcard, we can put you on the mailing list. If you want to contact us, you can contact me directly, or you can send email to info@faireducation.org.
John, you want me to pass out the postcard?
Yeah, sure. But we encourage you to join with us, whether or not you contribute, because we can make a difference. We can't do everything all at once. We can push back. And what we're learning is that brick wall, in many cases, made out of paper. So here's my take-home messages. Number one, the education establishment is powerful, but it's not all powerful. With determination and persistence, you can make changes. We can't do everything, but we can do something. And the three secrets we found are be there, be prepared, and be persistent.
Yes.
Cultivate the press is another one we've learned. We're not really going to win this battle in the courthouse. We're going to win it in the court of public opinion, if anywhere. That means get the press on your side. We're starting to get them on our side. And develop coalitions of like-minded citizens. We found another organization called Save Our Schools, which has a very similar message. A lot of them are liberal Democrats, but they're in tune with where we're going. And here are the techniques we found. Number one, in your own school board, check the school board agenda for items to be discussed. In Santa Barbara, they have to publish the agenda Friday for the next school board meeting on Tuesday. They had a special meeting one time. They published the agenda on a Friday. We were ready for them. We showed up and reamed them. What is so special that you have to do this in secret without giving us reasonable notice? They were stunned that we were there. Number one. Number two is show up at the school board meeting, put in a speaker slip. You can speak on items on the agenda or off the agenda. If there's something on the agenda you want to oppose, you can put a speaker slip on for that. If there's not on the agenda, you can speak on an off-agenda item. The important thing is to be there consistently. They'll get tired of listening to you. Eventually, they're going to cave. It's also important to get the facts before speaking. The worst thing you can do, I think, is to speak off the cuff, give them something to shoot back and say, these people don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
They've already saying, we've been misrepresenting facts, and we're prepared to go in next school board meeting and say, tell us what facts we've misrepresented. Have we misrepresented things from your documents? What is it exactly you've done? Because they're all recorded. All the school board meetings are recorded. Show us where we misrepresented something. Number two is be respectful. A lot of organizations show up mob style. The group called Ethnic Studies Now Santa Barbara showed up mob style with ethnic studies t-shirts with a raised fist. Mirror image of Black Panther fist. It doesn't make for good press. They can't brand us with that because we've been respectful. What they're saying now is we're well organized, we're well dressed, and what they're really saying is we're effective. We're getting under their skin. But also, it's important to be prepared with an alternative solution. It's easy to come in and say what we don't want. We've got to be prepared to say, okay, wise guy, what do you want? So what we're saying is we want these nonprofits out of the schools. We want that money to go to certificated teachers. These people are working their tails off. They're working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. It's difficult, it's expensive to live in Santa Barbara. And we need 2 good teachers in Santa Barbara. We need the teachers on our side. I bet you we're going to get there. I think we can drive a wedge between the teachers and their unions. The unions are pushing these programs, taking money away from the teachers. That's a gimmick, in my opinion. The last thing is be persistent. Don't think you can show up one time, be heard, and everything's going to change. You have to be there again and again and again and again and again. It's a drop of water that washes away a dam. An ant eats up a tiger. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's what we're doing. All right, if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes?
Yeah, you know, your point about if you can't read by 3rd grade, it's hopeless. Well, I came here in 5th grade, didn't speak a word of English, and a year and a half later I was getting A's in reading all over. So because somebody invested their time to help me.
That's right.
And in my case, it was my mom. She worked every 1 hour a day during the summer to reading.
That probably saved the school board money.
I don't understand, but a lot of these kids in Santa Barbara are living below the poverty line.
Yeah.
They have parents that can't leave it either, right? So, if we're gonna get the job done, it's gonna have to be done through the schools, and we're gonna do some other things like tutoring programs and so on.
My last point was on the dyslexia student. Can't they use the Americans with Disability Education Act to get those services?
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
And
But of course, the school district won't tell you about it.
that's right. And you may have to file suit to get it. And we're gonna be talking to these students. But they fired the best dyslexia specialist they ever had. And now she's on board with us.
Yay.
Any
Wow.
other questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.